We got Jacob with the 50. Sam, one time you said architecture was the highest form of art. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I don't know if I'm the guy to make a definitive statement like that, but that's the definitive statement I would make if I were to make one, which I did. I believe you. I'm not going to argue with you and say that I didn't say that, but that sounds crazy. But I think that, what the fuck is, oh, one second, let me find out what these guys are called. The art, what's the highest form of art? A lot of people are like, back when movies first came out, they were like, I think Kierkegaard made the argument that movies are the highest form of art because they contain all other forms of art. Contains writing and visuals and music, but that's like anybody can see that that's not the truth. And that's the argument that Jonathan Blow made after making Braid about video games, is that games are the highest form of art because games combine all the above and
movies.
They're interactive, and movies and they're interactive, which is just, it's just not the case. It's just, it's observably, viewably not the case. I think books, something about your mind filling in the gaps, and it's also like the most direct way of telepathically communicating with another person is via a book. The thing about movies, this is a great thing to be talking about with 6,000 people. How fast are we losing people as I'm rambling about this like an idiot? Oh, good. Okay. There's something about making film, making video. Like most of what I've ever made has been accidental. That has been something that I massaged. After this accident happened, I massaged it into a state that made it look deliberate. Anything I've ever made that looks good, and I know enough about filmmaking to know that you are never, the image that you have in your mind before you set up in front of something with a camera, it never looks like the end result. It's just not, nobody, there are filmmakers who are known for being fastidious and like obsessive and hyper focused on little details, but even with a mind like that, you are not in control of the final image. There's so much that happens accidentally. There is so much that happens that just, and it's not even big accidents. It's just like the way that the light falls on a certain person's face when they're turned this way is something that your mind never, you never could have made an allowance for before you were looking at it through an actual camera. So filmmaking is very not deliberate. It's also a fucking mess. Like trying to get more than two people in a room at the same time to do some coordinated action is a fucking mess. And even the best people in the world do not have that much control over the final product. They steer it in a direction, but their ability to steer it is limited. And I would guess that the same. I mean, I don't even have to guess. I've made enough crap in my stupid career to know that this is the case with video games. Like if you're through a game and you're gonna run out of money, you're gonna encounter some fucking weird gremlin that makes the whole game look weird, or when you have this texture and they're finally juxtaposed together and you have whatever post-processing over it, it looks weird, it looks not like what you expected. This stuff is all accidental. With books, it is that's not as much the case. Like books is the one where it's such a limited and basic canvas for your craft that you can exercise extreme control over it. I don't know why I'm talking about this. Is not relevant to the architecture thing. But yeah, I was thinking if the one art form that probably is the most difficult, transcendental, where it has the highest capacity for beauty, it has the highest capacity to make the the highest capacity to affect the psyches of like regular people, of everybody, and is also the one that's the most transcendent. Like, and by transcendent I mean it's like reaching towards God, is what architecture does. And with all this stuff is made by men. Women are basically never any good at this shit. Women architects, the stuff they make is like from the devil. There's this one Saudi or Indian architect that's famous for making a bunch of stuff in London. Her name's like Khalipa Noor or some shit. And the stuff she makes, it looks like a glass vibrator. It's fucking nuts. Women with their bodies create the ultimate. This is from Frank Yang. This is a Frank Yang thing. Women with their bodies, just via a biological act that they have naturally, produce the highest thing that can be produced, which is a human life, obviously. Okay, and men, all the activity that men do is an attempt to, I don't know, be as good as that. That's part of what the psychology that's going on there. Women can just, and this is not to denigrate childbirth, but it's built in with them that they can, by default, if there's a lot of nasty people out there being born. Okay, there's a lot of people on OnlyFans shaving their heads, making their husband take their last, these types of things. But we're talking about art forms. We're talking about books, movies. There's a lot of bad books. There's a lot of bad movies. There's a lot of bad music. Okay, there's a lot of bad people being born. But the act itself is like the highest act, and they have it by default. They don't even have to. It's very difficult. They have to work for it, but it's not something that like they have to spend their whole life striving for. Okay, yeah. So men have to do all this bullshit to come half as close. And I think that my hunch, not having thought about it a lot, is that architecture is the one where the medium or the act is the closest to giving life. It's creating shelter. It's reaching out to God. It's building it's a collective thing. It's a civilizational thing. So that's why I said architecture is the highest art form. But I'm not really. I'm not an art historian, so I don't know. Maybe maybe VR games is the highest art form.
Because it has movies, interactive, and it's real.
And a headset.
And a headset. None of your business. Miss Creation says, on the subject of architecture, Why Beauty Matters by Robert Scruton has a great segment on it. In it, he claims modern architecture is the greatest crime against beauty that the world has yet seen. Yeah. Highly recommend the doc.
Fucking nasty shit. Because it ruins the lives of regular people. The bad architecture.
Yeah, they have to live in it.
Like if you go make some gay movie, regular people aren't going to see that.
Yeah.
That's for like, I'm not going to say, but that's for them to go watch. That's for like some, Pak, frizzy-haired, Shakata Unur Kaka. BIPOC computer programmer. That's for her to go watch.
Yeah.
That's fine. You make some fruitcake ass TV show, whatever. But if you make a bad building, that ruins the lives of everybody.
Yeah.
And then you have it's just horrendous.
Kelsey Harvey says, hey Sam, regarding architecture, Andrew Clavin discussed the value and morality of art in general. His discussion boiled down to the idea that we need an American Renaissance to repair our culture. Your thoughts?
I mean, yeah. You ever see this shit? You ever see this shit? Can you imagine this? Can you imagine our society building stuff like this today? Not gonna happen. Holy fucking shit.
There has never been a Renaissance wasn't precursed by like a major catastrophe. By the way, these things are born out of pain.
Look at this, brother.
We need pain first.
Good God.
Pain and punishment.
Yeah, I think it's time for massive campaign of violence.
in Minecraft.
No, in real life. I'm not going to do it. They're not going to do it. I'm not telling them to do it. I'm just saying it's probably going to happen. It's probably time. It's probably time. I'm not going to do anything. But yeah, I would agree.